Wonderful. Good morning, friends. Good morning, friends, and welcome to the Spiritual Side of Virginia. It's so good to be with all of you here today. We're going to start by reading a message that's very short but very powerful called 20 Exercises for Spiritual Development, psychographed by the Spirit Sheila through the hands of the medium Chico Xavier. In order to develop spirituality, we should execute our own obligations happily, silence before the offense, forget the rendered favor, discharge the friends of any kindness towards us, silence our aggressiveness, not condemn the options that diverge us from that diverge from ours. The opinions, I'm sorry, not condemn the opinions that diverge from ours. Abolish any malicious or unnecessary question. Repeat information and instructions without any soreness. Practice constant patience. Hear fraternally the sorrows of the companions without biographing our pains. Seek without affection the form of being more useful. Excuse without excusing ourselves. Not speak ill of anybody. Look for the best part of the people that commune with us the experience. Cheer with the joy of others. Not disturb others' works. Help spontaneously. Respect others' work. Reduce personal problems. Willingly serve when illness hurts us. The apprentice of material experience who wishes and endeavors to practice at least some of the 20 exercises here proposed will certainly receive from the Divine Master in the School of Life the more distinguished notes in the course of the charity.
Thank you, dear God, for this message, for the teachings of this morning, for embracing us in your loving care. We feel the healing of your harmony permeating our minds and bodies, pacifying our emotions, stimulating and encouraging us to greater faith. And we would like to visualize everyone who is in our lives feeling lost, in need of a new direction. May they perceive your messengers coming to their rescue time and again to fortify them and to strengthen their courage of living in spite of any challenges. May everyone who has their names in the book of prayer as well feel your embrace. Thank you for granting us the permission to begin our therapeutic and educational service today as you envelop us in protection and much inspiration. So be it. Okay, so before anything else, let's do this. Oops. So we have started a list, an interest list on Friday. It's about the 2 services of October. the homeless on the 14th, and the shelter on the 28th. We are asking you to sign up for the interest list because as soon as we have it finished, we're going to organize the two groups and keep you posted on how we're going to organize ourselves to do this, okay? Yes. On the 14th in DC, it's 10:30 a.m. On the 28th, it's at 9 a.m. here at SSVA because for the shelter, we need to come earlier to fix everything, to prepare the meal because they start their lunch at 11. So we have to go there and deliver the meal in the shelter in Reston. So that's why on the 28th we'll be here earlier. All right. You will see it. If you haven't seen it yet, for those who have not been here, or find a way. And then on the back, you'll see we have completed the list. Yes, the donations. Thank you, friends. Okay. So, who is ready today? Who is ready today? Yay, yay, yay. So, let's go inside and enjoy a whole lot of fun. Of course. So loud. So loud. Okay, so let's just check the numbers. As for us, we're gonna take a break, relax. Yeah, what we're gonna do here is talking about faith. If we could, right, in a scale of 0 to 10, assess how we're doing in terms of faith for what we know this far. You don't need to tell me, but let's think 0 to 10, 0 being like zero faith, 10 being like Jesus level of faith. Okay, so 10 is already Jesus level, 0 is like Judas level because he had no faith. If he had faith, he wouldn't have done what he did. So two extremes. Where are we? Think about a number, keep it. It's important to reflect on where we are. Because think about it. If life ends today, in this reincarnation, we need faith so we don't come back disturbing our loved ones. Yeah. You think only obsessors disturb loved ones? No. Family spirits do too, because we come back saying, oh my gosh, how come? Look at the book. True story. Sex and Destiny. There we have Beatrice. And she's sick. She's dying. She's married to a man who's cheating on her and she doesn't know. She thinks he's so faithful, right? Very faithful. And they have a young adult son. And she dies thinking that she had the best family in the world. At one point in her afterlife, she says, I want to visit my family. And they are saying, I don't think you should, but I want to. I don't think you should. We need to listen to these spirits because we're stubborn. And she said, I want to. She had Mary to visit. When she came, she saw things in two realms. She saw the spirits that were in their home. She saw that her husband was never who he preached to be. And she saw more, that he was in love and having an affair with his secretary, much younger than him, who was cheating on him with his son. So the woman was having a relationship with father and son, and she was not the Holy Spirit. Can you imagine that? When Miss Beatrice saw it, what happened to her? She went crazy. You think mental illness is a thing of the physical brain? No. She was deeply disturbed when she saw also the house overcrowded with less dignified spirits. Because when we have those behaviors, we're never connected with superior spirits. When we're lying, cheating, etc. So, thank God, because of her merit, she was rescued, put to sleep therapy in the spiritual realm to calm her down, just like what they do in some psychiatric hospitals. And they had an intervention. They had a spiritual intervention in a surgery room where they could assess a previous life of hers, which would be the only explanation why she was so susceptible to this mental disturbance. And then they explain 150 years earlier who they were and how they could fix it all. Read the book Sex and Destiny. It's an amazing book. Don't be afraid by the name. But it's a true account of two families and how they are interconnected in multi-millennial ways and how we can heal ourselves. So why we're saying this? Where was her faith, huh? When we see the mess in front of us, how do we not go crazy? How? So we need to strengthen our faith. But talking about it, if we go, Mentor Joseph said, just go straight to the book, The Gospel According to Spiritism. There is a specific chapter, 19, that talks about faith moves mountains. Faith, Jesus said that we don't need his 10 faith to be well. We just need little faith and everything else unfolds. And then the Spirit Joseph says to us in instructions here at Kardec's times that faith is the mother of hope and charity. So why do we sometimes feel so depressed, discouraged, and sad? Because we don't have good, strong faith. Why don't we help others either? How many people tell us, you're going to help the homeless? You don't need to do it. The government helps them. Come on. So they have zero charity in their heart because their faith is very minute. So to be charitable, we need faith. To be optimistic, we need faith. So we need to resume what it is. And he says, in order to be profitable, faith must be active. So the second question for us is, okay, we have some level of faith, of course. But what level of faith? Is it active? Or is it that type of faith like, yeah, I believe in God, but I'm every day looking at the stock market, thinking about material life, that our faith is inactive to the point that in the endless messages received by Chico Xavier, there is one in particular that is not yet in English. It's from a book that is not yet in English. Well, Geraldo came here and told us about 500 plus books, so no doubt they are not in English yet because too many of them exist. But let's say this. In this book, Contos deste de Outra Vida, it's Tales from This Life and the Next. It's by the spirit Humberto de Campos, the same author of the book News. There is a message titled Examine Faith. It's about a man who is very religious, helping people get closer to God. You know, sometimes we're that person in our family, right? We're that person who's always telling people, remember God, let's be faithful to God, let's be loyal to God, etc. He was doing so well that the angels, you think, we're in the school of the earth and the spirit teachers are not paying attention? Oh no. They know exactly what we're doing and they are recording everything that we're doing and they go up to higher levels and say what we're doing and how we're doing. If we're doing poorly, they send extra help. If we're doing well, they also send more help. Okay? We're never by ourselves, alone. So these men had these messengers of God coming to God, says the tale, and saying, you know, this man is doing amazing. He is very dutiful. He's teaching people about God. He's doing so great that he's ready for the next. And says Humberto de Campos, we love his stories. He's such a good storyteller. He said that his word was so great in faith that the Lord of Life, seeing his demonstrations of faith, said, well, let's send to the earth a few messengers to test him in the level where he is. Why is the Lord of Life doing this? Because we're in the school of life. Not because he's saying, okay, you're so good, I want to see how good you are. No, that's not God. That's us. But God is saying, let's see if you're ready for the next, right? So before we are given another opportunity in life, you're saying, let's test. Let's see who are these messengers to test our faith. Let's see if we're ready. The first one, slander. Slander. People are going to talk bad about him. Let's see what he's going to do. Because many people, they give up. They say, even in our families, oh, nobody understands me. And they stop doing the good, right? They're talking bad about me. And he was always, no, he would say his words. My name belongs to God. May God be praised. So if we are having this experience, let us repeat this as a mantra to fortify us. My name belongs to God. Does it feel different? You feel like my name belongs to God. Of course, people don't know, bless you. People don't understand us. They talk bad about us. Who are they? God? No. So what does it matter? It doesn't matter. Let them speak. And then, after slander and calumny, now allow him to be persecuted for free. Well, we can almost see this. Look at Chico Xavier, right? People suing him, in the courts of Brazil because he was psychographing books with big names like Humberto de Campos. People who were persecuting him because he was a spiritist. And how did he behave, this man? He said, well, the good is the work of the Lord. May the Lord be praised. So if we're doing something, how many people, I was telling Virginia the other day, she said, we had a discussion about religion in the school and people were saying this and the other. And I said, what did you say? She said, I didn't say anything. I said, why? Because they won't know. I said, I know, but if you don't speak, then they won't know. If you and I are shy, who will know? We need courageous people to speak up and say, I'm Christian, I'm a spiritist. What is it? It's a non-denominational. You teach your kids non-denominational Christian center. That's all it is. We're not lying, we're not hiding, we're not exempting us from participating in the making of this dissemination. We're not preaching, but we need to be who we are. And the good that we do comes from the Lord. But if we all hide and pretend we're not spiritists, we're not helping. How are people going to know if we don't have the courage to say? People can say they're Muslim, they can say they're Catholic, and we can't say we're spiritists? Just because they don't know, do they know what being Christian is? They don't know it either. Do people know what being a Muslim is? They don't know it either. People don't know anything about anything, basically. So, but if we don't add little by little, like when we go to the shelter, when we get the receipt, when we deliver the things at the shelter, why do we get a receipt? For several reasons. One, because the community donates, we need to be accountable saying this is where the donations are going to prove that it's going to the right direction. But it's not only that. When we are asking for a receipt, they will learn Spiritist Society of Virginia. Spiritist Society of Virginia. Every week. Spiritist Society of Virginia. And all the Spiritists. Oh, they're coming. The Spiritists are coming. Ooh, they already know a word that is not in the American dictionary yet. But will be. That's it. It seems very small. But one small action here, another there, little by little, it's becoming familiar. The day they see it in the news one day, maybe decades later, you're like, oh, those are the people. Oh, I see. The people are donating, the same people. Very interesting. They really care. That's it. We didn't need to preach anything. So this man passed the test. Misunderstanding, when people do not understand us. And again, he was saying, may the glory be given to the Father who is in heaven. He said, if people don't understand me, it's okay. The glory is to God. And then disease came. He was so severely ill that people are like, right? So when he's sick. How many times do we get sick and people are like, how come? How many times Chico Xavier got sick? And people are like, how come? You do so much good. People don't understand. Did he stop? No. What does the message Felipe read today say? The last item. Look at that. 20 exercise for spiritual development. We should willingly serve when illness hurts us. What? And we think we're going to get sick and say, I can't help. I can't do the dishes anymore. Can't vacuum anymore, right? but we have to serve. He's saying serve, meaning help with love. Not this like, ah, that's not serve. Serve is like, yay, doing the dishes. Yay, changing the diaper. Yay, waking up in the middle of the night for the crying baby. Yay, 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 yay. When we're like that, even though we're sick, we're already spiritually advanced. So this man, you think he stopped? No. Now we're curious, when is he gonna stop? If ever, right? Because Chico Xavier went through the same things. He didn't stop. So the messengers of God kept coming, says Humberto de Campos. And the man was overcoming bitterness, um, hopelessness, sadness, even material needs. And one day, one of his children, one of his sons died. And the messenger said, and still he didn't stop. God said, okay, the ultimate test of faith. Are you ready? Because we're in the best place of the earth to be tested on that. He said, the Lord of life said, send him a lot of money. A lot of money. That's the ultimate test of faith. Make his life be so abundant, very abundant. The man received the generous gift and started a business and was in a very comfortable position. But he seemed to be anesthetized when he prayed. He seemed to be anesthetized, numb when he was praying, drunk of joy in all his movements. After a while, the spiritual instructors brought the news to God and sent somebody to ask for his help. So this man comes and says, I need your help because you're so wealthy. I have 4 children who are sick, and I ask for a loan because I need some money to pay for my debts. The man went quiet. In his silence, he heard the other man crying and saying, please help me in the name of the Father of goodness. The divine teachers who were watching him pass the test or not were shocked to see his indifference in his words saying, I can't help you. The money that is mine, I got it with a lot of sweat. He didn't pass the test of faith. How many of us are just like that? Many. Because we think that the money that we have in our accounts is because we worked for it. No. God said, allow him or her to have it. Because none of us who have bank accounts in this or that way are privileged, more privileged than those who don't. So when we look at somebody who doesn't have, very likely we are being tested on our faith to see if we understand, connect the dots to help those who have less. So this is what Joseph at Kardec's time says. To be profitable, our faith must be active. This is active faith. It must not grow numb. Look, it's exactly. And this message was received in 1862, and this book was 100 years later. So you see the connections. It can't be numb. The mother of all virtues that lead to God must watch carefully over the development of the children it generates. So faith, divine inspiration from God, awakens all the noble instincts that lead humans towards the good. It's the foundation of regeneration. Okay, so let's think this way. Hmm? What's happening on the earth right now? Yeah, people are going numb, right? But we need to help counter it for the benefit of everyone. And spiritually, what's happening? The good spirits are getting everyone who is in the lower zones, in the darker zones, to reincarnate. It's their last opportunity, our last opportunity on earth. And we think only the super criminals will go to other planets less evolved than Earth. No. Aren't we somewhat a criminal when we know this much and we do nothing or very little or even disturb the works of the good? Is this less of a crime before God's laws? So we are being asked to regenerate ourselves, but we can't regenerate ourselves if we don't have faith. When people come to us and say, I'm lost, say, where is God in your life? Because if you don't have God, you will be lost forever if we do not have God. Like last week, the preteens were learning some music that we hear all the time, fun, good beat. But when we listen to the lyrics, it's devastating. So they were learning last week, how to, the critical thinking, right? You think it's only for school and material things? It's for spiritual things too. Kardec said reasoning is everything to have faith. So they were choosing the songs and they had to match with the laws of God and pointing out which part of these songs were completely off. Like this song, there is one that says, am I ready to be loved? It seems fun, but it's not fun. Am I ready? But aren't we loved by God already? I don't need to be ready. We're loved already. We don't need to be ready for somebody to love us. We're already loved by God. This is very serious. And then when they hear these songs, it numbs their senses if they don't analyze. So we need to tell our children when they listen, yeah, we listen to this too. We go to the gym together. We listen to the beat. But we're always pointing, saying, to the point that Virginia pointed that out to me. Said, you see, Mom? She's saying, she's asking if she's ready, but she doesn't know she's loved by God. It's working. It's working. Because we need to stimulate that critical thinking. Say, yes, we're going to listen to the song, knowing that this is not true. But I said, if you listen to this day and night, night and day, I tell you, it's going to reprogram your mind and you're going to start doing crazy things based on that. Because that's big influence. Like Seven Rings by Ariana Grande. Listen to the song. I want it, I got it, I got it, I want it, I got it, I want it, I got it. And she keeps repeating. And the verse goes, I want it, I got it. And there are There's worse in the lyrics, but she made it. Why? I said, Virginia, we need to go and see why. Go to the internet. Why did she write that? She was frustrated. She thought Pete Davidson was the love of her life. She was engaged. They broke apart. She had, you know, uh, an engagement ring, and then she showed up over the internet with a new one that she bought for herself, and then she bought it for other friends of hers. And then she wrote the song Seven Rings to say, I don't need you. I have what I want. If I want it, I got it. Whatever is her reason, it's not our reason. If she wants to live that way, God bless her. We pray for her. But if I am here, a child or a teen or a young adult listening to this and I believe in that, if that becomes my religion, because many teens are like this, they listen to these songs, it becomes their religion. Hmm? Right? We need to tell our children, not when they're 18, because then they're gone. Now, when they're close to us, right? Like the famous Pitbull songs. I like the beat for workouts, but if you listen to lyrics, gosh, it's all about materialism. You have everything. You are a genius. You can break companies with your peeps. Hmm? Go to the parties, grab somebody sexy, and say, "Hey, give me everything." That's the lyrics. Hmm? That's what our teens are listening. Our children are listening. They won't stop listening to them, but we need to remind them this is not your north. Because if it is, you're in trouble. Yes.
I have one exercise that when I watch movies, I always like trying to point out where the problems start. What should I have done to solve the problem? Most of them is just I always talk to Michelle because we are watching these movies on oh what's going on, and then most of them is like just lack of conversation. If you see the entire plot, everything start like just because the lack of conversation between the main characters and everything is going on. So I always like trying to watch, point it out like what what I would have done here, what's the problem, what's the solution, like going through the entire movie. It's really fun.
But you know why they don't communicate, Nick? Because as we're studying on Fridays in the course of spiritual being, each person is in their torment. And that's why we can't see the other, because you can only communicate when you see the other. When we are in our torment, we cannot even see the other.
And that's the good part because you can see like the whole scenario, like what one is thinking and what the other thinking, and it's so easy to solve just one 5 minutes conversation and solve about it. You can see like I just imagine like if I'm in the spiritual realm, right? I can see like everyone's thoughts, every scenario. It's the same in the movie, like
Yeah.
you see both parts.
Yeah.
Why they don't tell? And,
Because they are in their torment. It's a good point, right? They don't talk. Like, go to 2,000 years ago. You're reading the book and you're like, come on, a senator, can you just talk to your wife and sort it out? He doesn't. Why? Because he's in the torment of his ego. He's not going to go low and ask her and feel vulnerable, because if he shows his vulnerability, he's less of a man. So, of course, he's not going to talk to her and sort it out. So, he prefers to be in the torment of his jealousy, of his pride, as he says, and he doesn't communicate. We only communicate when I'm talking about real communication, right? We can only really put some action in common, like communicate, when we are out of our torments. When we are numb in our torments, we're enveloped in the torments of envy, jealousy, this and the other, we can't communicate. We don't see the other. We only see ourselves. Desire to understand. Because to really help, we need to understand. Remember the book Thought and Life? Chapter 10. But we can only understand when we are no longer in our torments. Only the truth sheds light and gets us out of our torment. We start seeing others. We may enter a phase of existential conflicts in general inside of us. But then we'll little by little get out of it as we understand that, for example, Livia, the wife of the senator Lentulus, she was already out of her torment. She wasn't tormented at all. That's why she was able to see the Christ. In spite of her wealth, think about it. The lesson we studied today, she had great inheritance from her parents. She was married to one of the most influential senators at the time. And yet, she didn't care about it. She was always thinking about others. She was at another level of consciousness. She understood that Publio was not doing well. She never gave up. Well, she didn't force anything, right? When we look at it nowadays, we say, go talk to him, right? Why don't you go talk to him and say, Publio, come here? No, but she tried, but he was so proud. You know, there are people who are so tormented, they encapsulate them in pride. No, it's like there's a wall between them and the world. And they keep saying, nobody cares about me. No, no, no. You don't care about the world. Because there is a wall between you and the world. And not because people put that wall, because you put that wall. And you're going to be alone all your life because you do not care about others. Unless they are, we'll use an expression from Virginia, clamoring around you. But think about this. She had everything materially, status and everything, but she got that the message of the Christ was more important than to be equal to others. We are supposedly Christians in the sense of following Jesus' teachings, and yet we don't feel equal to everyone we encounter. But Lydia did. She did feel that she was just like her slave Anna. Anna was a sister to her. She saved her.
Instead of herself.
Yes, she could have said, oh, Anna, I love you so much, but I have a daughter. You don't. You're my slave anyhow. You have to die, not me. But the ultimate test, she said, no, no. You be saved. You'll be able to help them because there's nothing I can do here anymore. It wasn't suicidal at all. That's the ultimate test of faith. But we are here in Northern Virginia. Let's come back to us. Huh? And God is saying, frankly to you, bing, 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 right? And we dare to say, I'm not rich, I'm not rich. Oh yeah, okay, let's travel the world and meet the other 7 billion people in this world, and then we're gonna see we are rich. Maybe not the rich that people expect us to be, but we are. We can at any point open a refrigerator and have food to eat. You think everybody in the world, there are billions of people that do not have that luxury.
Yesterday I was to a house like some mail or something that's away. The gentleman stopped, was talking about the houses being rented, it's going to be torn down and rebuilt. And we started talking about the big houses that would be put in the neighborhood. And we were both bemoaning the fact that it's great for people to live in the houses.
Yeah.
But then he made this wonderful statement that relates to exactly what you're saying. He was saying, if we kind of look down on those people that are doing this, yet so some of the other people in the world look down on us, our house, and look back to how we grew up. Both of us grew up in these very small houses.
You see?
Very interesting.
Yeah, we look at those who are ahead of us and we think, oh, they have. And then there are people who look at us and say, whoa. And we, what are we doing? Can we do better? You know, one of the signs we're doing poorly in our society here, storage units.
The garage is not enough
Yeah,
anymore.
the garage doesn't serve a purpose,
The
right?
basement. The
And the
basement.
The
and garage.
basement,
Yeah.
Attic.
the attic, and the storage unit. If we just go through these, we're gonna start better. You know that furniture that is there and has been there, and we don't use, we don't know what to do. There are people who would love Habitat for Humanity across the street, literally across the street, down here in our center. They would love to receive it because they build new homes for families and they use our furniture, our utilities to furnish these homes. They accept everything, everything. Because people say, oh, and the toys of our children. All the churches will accept the toys, the car seats, the strollers, because there are lots of people in their communities that cannot afford buying a new one. So why keeping it for years? The child is already going to college and the baby toys are still in the garage. Oh, we don't know where to give because we're lazy. And laziness driven by selfishness because we're not thinking of others who have nothing. You think everybody can do a baby shower and buy things for their babies? You don't need to be miserable not to be willing. You just need to be an ordinary person. And they are not going to buy it. They're going to have a hard time. So we need to go back to our homes and start looking at the things that are there that can be useful to others. And we no longer need, or even if we need, we have too much. And we don't need that much. 10,000 sets of plates. Why? Right? Why? Okay, some of us are already living with consciousness in that regard, but we are talking about how we're going to get closer to God by knowing that everything that we have is a temporary concession of God. That's faith. That's where we need to begin to strengthen ourselves in our faith. When we deeply feel that everything that we have, from our physical body to our family to anything else, It all comes from God because nothing is ours. And we start dedicating our loving actions to God, saying, you entrusted me with this body. How can I better, care for this? You entrusted me with this family. You want me to love them, God. It's as if God is saying every day, love each and every person in your life, especially at home. Begins at home. Because if we don't do this at home, we won't be able to do this there. I see people who have great connections with people outside of their homes. And that's a sign that they are both cherishing their torment. Because when we have good friends, the good friends make us love our families. When these good friends are just with us, just to support us in our numbness, you think it's only teens who do this. No, we adults do as well. But when we have good friends, they will support us to get close to our family and vice versa. Right? Always, always. Are we supporting our friends to go and strengthen their relationships with their families too? Are we doing that? And more, the universal family. A good friend will support us in overcoming the obstacles in this relationship with the universal family as well. That's faith. It's a new look at faith. We think faith is about praying, believing in God. It's active. It gives us optimism, hope, and gives us a great lot of feeling of sharing love, charity, love in action. That's faith. If we are actively doing that, our faith is strong in spite of the obstacles. There are two extremes. The people who don't have much money and say, I can't help anybody because I don't have any money. And Jesus is the number one in that regard. He's saying he had zero money, zero house, zero car, zero anything and everything, and he helped the world, proving to us that it's not about money. And there are people who have a lot and they think it's theirs. And they keep willing to have more because it's not enough. Because what they want is this. And they have this. And humanity has here. And they think, for me, because I'm not Jeff Bezos. Because I'm not Elon Musk. Because I'm not Bill Gates. I'm not, some people say, thank God I'm not. No, we'll never say that because they have their mission. There's a reason why they're there. There's a reason why. You don't know what they've been through. Think of those Roman emperors in past times. They reincarnated time and again, time and again, time and again, and now they are Jeff Bezos, this and that and the other. Well, they have to do their share, and we can't envy them. We can't be willing to be them. By the way, there's a song that our children listen often. She's all I want to be. They studied last week, one of this songs. This very song as well. Do we want to be like somebody else? But Jesus, we want to be like him. Like I'll see you in pronunciation. Yes. That's why we're reading that book on Fridays as we're studying the course of spiritual beings. Because Alcyon shows to us, thank you, Ingrid, showing to us the direction. Nobody knew her in our life but those few people. How many loving spirits are on earth nowadays? The world doesn't know of them, not even the cameras. And they are doing amazing things in their families. True sacrifice. Helping raise a few minds. And little by little, the world is changing. Why do we want to be viral, go viral, being a YouTuber, influencer? Because there are people who dream about it every day. Our children in this generation, that's the dream for them, to be an influencer. Well, start by influencing your friends to say less cursing words, hmm? Do less drugs, be more positive, respect the teachers. That's to be an influencer, huh? You don't need a camera for that. Just do your share. When a baby is born, by the way, we should do this since our belly. When the baby is born, we say, you were born to help Jesus on earth. Repeat it. And people may look at you saying, how do you know? Are they a missionary? Look, every person, if we all agree to help Jesus, the world is changed. You don't need to be a missionary. You just need to be a helper, as John said. Just be a helper. So repeat non-stop to your baby every day. Yes, you are so beautiful, baby. Yeah, beautiful baby. Carlos' grandson. I am the step grandmother. And I said, you are here to help Jesus. Repeating, 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 repeating. When they go to school, say, may you have a good day. Don't forget to help Jesus today. Every day. Every day. You're here to help. Help Jesus. Help Jesus. We know that's why we're here. Because God wants us to be here. And that's active faith. To know that wherever we are, God is asking us, help with those resources that I'm giving to you. That's it for today. We had enough, right? Yes, right? So let us meditate on this as we prepare for the fast and rejoice.
With Carla.
Let us feel the joy of being surrounded by the loving messengers, the spirit doctors, nurses, and therapists who have kindly prepared the energy medicine that we need. Let us feel their presence, their love, and rejoice as they treat us with their loving medicine. Let us see that the good and loving spirits are now providing to us flowers, flowers of healing. Let us bring them close to our hearts. Let us feel their healing perfume permeating ourselves in renewed energies. And we feel that the loving colors of the flowers are enveloping us in new light. Let us raise our thoughts and feel the presence of Master Jesus amongst us. His loving smile, His kind look. He emanates strengthening energy medicine onto us. Let us breathe in and out and receive it with gratitude. Let us feel Jesus as our best friend. He is the governor of our planet and He knows exactly who we are, what we need. This is the time for us to connect with His loving heart and feel Him calibrating us, mind and bodies, strengthening us for the journey of this reincarnation. Let us think of Jesus, our best friend. Let us feel his loving presence, strengthening us as he counts on us to help the earth. Let us visualize his illuminated hands applying onto us, strengthening energies and much protection. Let us visualize one more time, everybody helping all together. Jesus here with us, showering everyone in his loving care, protecting and strengthening us, mind and bodies. Let us raise our thoughts and help one another by visualizing a shower of healing light as if a waterfall of healing light is passing through us, detoxifying us from feelings that are no longer needed and making us feel hopeful and strong in God. Meanwhile, let us join our thoughts in prayer, praying for the people in the world who are in need of help. May they find help as soon as possible. May all of our schools and the schools in the world be visited by the guardian angels, protecting them, fortifying each teacher, each student, each family. We also visualize all hospitals, nursing homes, prisons, refugee camps, shelters, being enveloped by the light of God's love. Thank you, God, for the gift of life, for the opportunity of this day. May we go back to our homes and spend this day in active faith, knowing that everything you've given us is for us to reach out to others. Thank you, and so be it.